Well, you've seen the posters around town from the people who want to create a Sea Cadets group on the islands. You've probably heard on Radio Scilly as well comments from the captain in charge of the Army Cadets, Tony Smith, who is concerned about this. I think concerned is maybe an understatement. I'll start off, Tony, by asking you, there's a lot of publicity at the moment about the Sea Cadets. The posters have gone up.
Yep.
Your reaction? What would you say to people who say it's just sour grapes because they're getting loads of publicity?
It's not sour grapes on my behalf. I'm all for any person that wants to give their time up and ready to do anything for the kids. It should run in line with the Army Cadets, the Air Training Corps and any of the agencies that do something for the kids. My concern is there are just not enough kids over here to do this. I've been online sort of checking up on facts and figures to see obviously what the competition is like, and in Penzance you've got a static population of about 22,000 people, of which nearly 3,000 are kids. 20 odd of those are Sea Cadets, I think 16 are Army Cadets, and as of last year the Air Training Corps folded. Now if you've got 3,500 kids and we've got less than 100, the facts sort of stand for themselves. They can't be in two places at one time, and because the kids have got so many things to do over here already, everybody's already competing with each other for time. I know it has been bandied around that they'll have their meeting on a different night, and I've heard Friday night suggested, which is all well and good, apart from the fact Friday night is actually gig night, and all the hostel kids that stay over here through the week go back to the off-islands. So they're actually ruling out the off-island kids for doing it, because if they are, there's 20 odd kids they're going to lose there. They're going to take children from about 12 years old, so it's not the entire school for a start, it's only the year 8 upwards. So suddenly you're down to about 50 odd children, and if we've already got 20 odd, the other 30 probably don't want to be in uniform, or if they are, they're already in the guides or something, doing something else as well. So suddenly there just isn't enough kids to go around.
Have you spoken to them about this?
We've had a few meetings in the past, and I've aired my views, and obviously they've gone off and had various other meetings about this. But the way that their organisation is set up is totally different to the way the Army Cadets is set up. The Army Cadets is funded 100% by the Army, so it doesn't actually cost us anything. We have a full-time body of staff based at our HQ in Bodmin, and they basically run the whole of the county. We have a risk assessment officer, a health and safety officer and various other people in place that organise all the training and everything that's set up. The slight difference with the Sea Cadet Corps is they have to have their own committee for each corps that's set up, and they do fundraising, and the Navy will match fund them then. So if there's an event going on that the children take part in, the actual Sea Cadet unit has to find half of the money. And I'm just worried about kids doing more than one thing as they do over here, and parents then being strapped for cash for having to pay things to go away. My cadets go away about 8 times a year at the moment, and if the Sea Cadets go about 8 times a year, it's going to cost somebody something, because obviously at the moment we don't pay.
What would you say to people, and some people have mentioned it yesterday when we were talking about it, well I was talking about it, that there's an element with both sides potentially of kind of pride in your force,
yes.
Bit of forces rivalry going on here.
Well, you could say that. I mean, if that was the case, I'd be pushing the Air Training Corps, because after leaving the Army Cadets here when it first... I was a founder member of the Cadets over here, so I've obviously got allegiance to them. But as soon as I left the Army Cadets, I then joined the Royal Air Force. So my allegiance, if anything, is to the Royal Air Force. And certainly now that the kids come along to me in the Army Cadets, I don't push people into the Army. We're not a recruiting service for the Army. And I will actually push all of the 3 services. We have... When they have the careers conventions over here, we have the staff that come across from the military come up and give presentations, not just the Army but the Navy and the Air Force as well. So, you know, we give all peoples all sides. And if you go online and actually look at the charter for the Sea Cadets and the charter for the Army Cadets, the websites look like they're actually designed by the same people, because they're saying exactly the same thing. We all train 99% to the same things. You know, they're going to do sailing and canoeing, we do sailing and canoeing. They use the RYA and the BCU, we use the RYA and the BCU. We do first aid, they do first aid. So all I can see is the kids are actually going to be just in a different colour suit but doing the same job.
Is there any potential compromise here?
In an ideal situation, you'd be like they have in public schools, when rather than the 3 services trying to fight to decide which unit takes over, they've got the combined cadet force, which to me makes sense, because you've got the Army, Navy and Air Force all in one place, and you can train on everything then. But at the moment, because we're funded by the Army, I can't see us really sort of joining with the Sea Cadets.
You're not allowed to, because national rules,
I think it's national rules. Again, it would need looking into. How it would work, I'm not quite sure. I've been trying for the last, when did I take over, 16 years ago now. I'd come out of the Air Force, I'd moved back to the islands, and I had no intention of going back into uniform again. That was my time done. And within a few weeks, I got a phone call from the HQ to say the person that had been running the Army Cadets over here had already done 10 years in the chair, and would like to step down, would I take it over? And I said, well, not really. And they said, well, in that case, we'll fold it, and that'll be the end of it. And I said, well, I'll take it on till we find somebody else. And that was 16 years ago, and I've been trying to find people for the last 16 years to help me run the cadets. And I've had my wife for the last 15 years, and for a couple of years we've had Ruth Nichols helping as well. But we really struggle for adults, and all of a sudden we're going to have another unit starting up that are going to potentially take the adults that I was hoping to sort of recruit to run the Army Cadets with me.
So what's the way forward? I mean, is it a case of, simplistically, us or them?
I think for the size of the population, yes. We're already established and we're already up and running, and we offer everything that the Sea Cadets offer, all the way through to the BTEC, which is a qualification you would normally take a year to get at college at. We've just had Ben Johnson over here, who's just passed his BTEC First Diploma in Public Services, and it's equivalent to 2 A-levels. So we offer exactly the same service as they do, and I don't really know what the compromise is. We're basically run with a couple of adults over here, the kids turn up every week, and then we're guided by the guys in Bodmin at HQ. Over here you're going to have a committee of people organising fundraising and organising events, and is it going to end up with the kids permanently going around trying to raise money just so they can go away to things on the mainland? If that's the case, then I think people over here are going to get pretty fed up fairly quickly of people knocking on the door saying, can we have some more money? We haven't gone to the council to get money, we haven't gone and applied for funding, and in the last 16 years the only time I actually tried to raise money over here was to buy an HF radio about 3 years ago, which we did. But that's all we've ever asked the islands for. And now that obviously this is coming, I would ask people for support to help us, because we need it as much as everybody else.
If somebody comes up with an idea, maybe the Sea Cadets or a listener to Radio Scilly, and an impartial listener comes up with a potential for compromise, assuming the Sea Cadets are prepared to talk about the compromise, are you prepared to entertain it?
Oh, of course I am, yeah. We'll talk about anything. I'm always open to compromise. At the moment, we're sort of being backed into a corner, and if my cadets start to go and start to leave, I don't see the point in me carrying on. I don't just give up 2 hours a week to do this. We have to do a training programme, we have to fill out forms, and it has to go to the mainland to be accepted of what we're going to do each week. And the amount of paperwork that it actually generates now is about 8 hours a week generated for a 2-hour cadet meeting. And if anybody else wants to take it on, then fair enough, I've had enough fighting, so we'll see what goes on from there.
Well, let's see what goes on, let's see how it plays out. Thanks for coming in this morning.
Thank you.
And yeah, from any side, or like I say, from a third party, if you've got any ideas, suggestions, comments, let us know, and we'll report what happens over the next few days. Certainly there will be, if you like to use that awful word, closure to an element of this, because the Sea Cadets have said, when they announced yesterday, when we had Richard Lyon on, they're giving a 10-day consultation exercise, if you like, to see if there's enough interest from instructors. So we'll keep you updated on Radio Scilly. Tony, thank you for now. Thanks for coming in.